Hello, good evening. Welcome to the Talkin Kop. It's time for a full-time match reaction. I'm your host, Matt. I'm joined by Kev. I'm joined by Ashley. It is finished at the San Siro. Liverpool 3, AC Milan 1. Our perfect record at the glorious old stadium in Milan continues. 4 appearances for Liverpool, 4 wins for Liverpool. Ashley, somebody there in the chat said, Kieran B says that game is exactly what the doctor ordered after Saturday versus Forest. And isn't that exactly correct?
Yeah, happy birthday present to Slot. I think that was exactly the kind of reaction that we were looking for and absolutely needed. And we played really well tonight. I'm pleased with that.
Yeah, it started a little shaky, Kev, but we settled into it and we saw a much better response to going a goal behind, didn't we?
Look, that was really good. I mean, there were patches in that first half where we were absolutely outstanding. Really, really were. Bar the first 5 minutes, and their goal was an absolute minefield of mistakes. Take that out of it, everyone played really well. Everybody played well. The press was unbelievable. The organization in the press, by forcing them to play into areas we wanted them to play into, and then pouncing, it was reminiscent of everything good that we saw over the last few years. And they were really solid in the tackle. Everything, I loved that almost all of everything about that performance tonight. Almost everything.
Yeah, it's much easier doing shows after performances like that than one on Saturday. Just in response to Avo asking, this is actually a 125-year anniversary Liverpool scarf. It is not a Milan scarf. That would be absolutely sacrilegious. Come on, you know me better than that, Avo. You know me better than that. Ashley, let's get right into it because if people don't know, we've got a members-only call-in show coming up afterwards. It's a first time that we're going to try it on the channel. So if you're a member and you want to call in afterwards, Gav's going to do a show immediately following this one. So we're going to be kind of quicker than we normally are. It's easier for me to say than to actually pull off. But Ashley, the lineups come out. We get 2 changes. We get Tsimikas coming in for Robertson. We get Gakpo in for Luis Diaz. A couple of changes, not a ton of changes. How did you feel about it?
I think a lot of people were a little bit nervous about Tsimikas, and I think after about 5 minutes, we all kind of felt like that was a justified nervousness. But I mean, Cody Gakpo, he came in and really, really impressed me today. I don't know about you guys, but he was one of the top performers. I mean, they all performed really well, but I was impressed with him.
Yeah, absolutely. Chris Brack saying sorry he's not on tonight, but he did call the 3-1 win. Yeah, he's got an unwell youngster there at home, so you got to do what's important, Chris, and get your kid feeling a little bit better about it. I mean, Kev, we'll just get right into the nitty-gritty of it. Ashley mentioned it. He's obviously not the biggest. We're not the biggest fans of Kostas Tsimikas, but I mean, good God, 3 minutes in, they score, and there were a few players who you could lay some fault on it, but the first one that jumped out to me was Tsimikas on that, because it was the same thing that he did against Atalanta last year at home, where he just brain dead chasing a ball down that he was never going to get, and the space that they had on the right side was ridiculous.
Kostas was bad. Virgil was worse.
I didn't even see where Virgil was on the replay. So
yeah, Virgil was way worse because he left Konate out to dry. Cody went first. Cody went to their centre back. The ball went to their over the top. Kostas went, and he was never going to get there.
Ever.
Then Virgil went and left Konate out to dry. Konate forced Pulisic to go wide and go wide and go wide. Blocked off the angle for the cutback. Forced Pulisic to take the shot. Alisson should do better. I'm sorry, that's a really, really acute angle. You should not be beaten as a top-class goalkeeper from that angle. But as bad as Kostas' mistake was, Virgil's mistake was way worse because he could see it unfolding. He could see the danger. He could see where the danger was going to be. He knows Christian Pulisic. He's come up against him before. And Kostas is the easy one to kick. But Virgil, for me, was atrocious in that moment. His decision-making to come out for that was ridiculous. And someone with his experience and knowledge and ability should not be made.
Yeah, I'm not quite as skilled as you are, so I'm going to go with the easy kick and still pile in on Simcast because I've seen it too many times before. I think it's his biggest Achilles heel that he's like a dog with a scent, and he's just like, I'm going for that ball, and it's like you're never ever going to get there. I mean, Ashley, you can have some thoughts on the goal if you want, but we'll move it along because, like I said, time frames. They had the run of the game for probably the first 10 or 15 minutes until we truly settled into it.
Yeah, and the nerves were there. I was real worried that we were going to have this whole kind of avalanche of people coming on after the game saying, oh, we lost it at Forest and now we've thrown it away at San Siro. And I had all the narratives playing out in my head. And I am so glad that we were able to compose ourselves because that was a big question. Like, how does the team respond? If they do go down by a goal, like, how do they respond a second time? Because this past weekend, it wasn't great. But this was a much better response.
Yeah. And I mean, in the 16th minute, we get Mo Salah's first Darwin Núñez impersonation where Mo hits the bar. I mean, it was a great pass from Jota into Mo, right-footed shot. It beat Maignan with pace, no problem, but ricochets off the bar. And then Simicast had a good cross after that. Gakpo had a lovely back heel to play him in on the overlap. And I mean, Cody Gakpo, we can wax lyrical about him, but we end up Calabria gets a yellow card for sliding in on Gakpo, and we get a free kick on the left-hand side, couple yards in, couple yards out of the box. And I mean, Ashley, the defending from AC Milan for this goal is so bad. And it's lovely to see Ibou Konate get that because it's been a while since he scored a goal.
But 2022 was his last goal.
Yeah, yes. So he was due, you could say, over 2 years since he scored a goal. And I think Kieran B here says, Konate had another solid game. Him and Virgil, both 6'5", need to be scoring more regular from corners. And we see that today. But a lovely flighted delivery from Trent and powered home by Konate, and just what we needed, wasn't it?
Absolutely. And like Trent has that ability to deliver those corners, which is why it's so frustrating when he's just slightly off. And obviously it's an elite sport and, slightly tweaking it one way or the other can make it look really stupid. But when he gets it right, it looks like he's serving it up on a silver platter. And that's what he was doing tonight.
Yeah, it was a lovely finish, wasn't it, Kev? I mean, this wasn't exactly a corner, and when we get onto the second goal, it'll be the corner. But I know you've noticed it as well, as I'm sure all of us watching the matches, certainly us doing the post matches, that we seem to have completely changed up our strategy, at least in the first half, on corner kicks. It's in swinging balls, and we put the center halves on the goalkeepers, and we crowd them out. And we haven't seen it pay off until today.
Yeah, I mean, look, our first goal was really basic. From a Liverpool point of view, it was a float across and a centre back who runs, gets a good leap, nods it in. It's as basic a goal as you're ever likely to see. It was badly needed because we were really dominant and at that point, and we needed to score while we were on top. Because if we didn't push our advantage home, then nerves start kicking in for me. I thought we controlled the game after they scored. We could pretty much controlled it, bar a couple of balls through our midfield, did really well. But from a Milan point of view, Mike Maignan must be absolutely fuming that nobody saw the big, huge centre back and thought, you know what, I'm going to stop him running. That's all. That's your.
Like, he barely had to take a step.
Oh, he did. He got about 3 steps and a leap, but that was enough.
Yeah.
You ever watch someone take when you watch basketball, 3 steps and slam? That was it. It was literally that, and it was like Shaq coming in. You ain't stopping the guy. And I'd love to see more of it. I honestly think that our set pieces really do need to improve because with the quality of delivery that we have within the squad, be it Trent, Robertson, Simicast, Dominic Szoboszlai, there's 4 players 3 of them are almost always going to be on the pitch. And we've got big, tall players. We're really generally are a physically big, powerful side. We don't score enough set pieces. Ibou should have a lot more goals than what he has. And it was exactly what we needed. And it wasn't a case of deep breath and right, let's just relax now and see how the game pans out. It wasn't. It was straight back on the front foot and go again, get the lead, and that's how the momentum really kept going up until halfway through the second half. We were on it and forcing the game and wanting to play on our pace, on our terms, and Milan just couldn't live with us in the end.
Yeah, there's a couple comments about exactly that. Zane Hanif here says, I think we started slow in my opinion, but grew into the game and then dominated thereafter. And Kieran B said, we look super fast compared to Milan. The Italian league is slow, can't handle Premier League teams. And I mean, you kind of see that with the number of players that didn't pan out at Chelsea that are doing pretty well for AC Milan and actually all across the Italian league. It's like a semi-retirement home for players that couldn't quite handle it in the Premier League, and they seem to do quite well with it. But I mean, Ashley, the pace of that, and it comes down to the press. And you got some stats here for us about Gravenberch making 6 interceptions against Milan, the most by a Liverpool player in a Champions League match since Trent against Man City in April 2018 on it. But the whole midfield, and I missed the comment, I missed saving it from earlier. Somebody said, like, our midfield three were excellent today, and they dominated. And shortly after the goal, I mean, there's a turnover in the midfield. McAllister, love a little layoff to Jota. He goes near post with it. Probably should score, shouldn't he?
I mean, there's so many times over the course of this game that we probably should have scored. I mean, it's like 5 minutes later that Salah hits the bar again, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, we were peppering them with balls toward their goal at that point, and it was great. It was great to see them like going for the throat. That's what we were looking for. We were in the chat saying, use the dominance, like, while we're on top, like, actually, seal the deal kind of thing, and we did, and that was so refreshing. It was so refreshing to be able to kind of like enjoy the rest of the game after that point.
Yeah, it's settled back into the pattern that we saw in the first 3 games of when we were on top, we just kind of started to suffocate them. And I mean, before we get on to the second goal, Kev, I gotta point out, I mean, Trent Alexander-Arnold against Rafael Leao before the match, to me, that was one of the key 1v1 matchups because Rafa Leao is a player. Like, and you saw it with the one burst he had in the second half where he made 2 or 3 players miss before Ibu Konate came back and saved the day for us. But I thought Trent did excellent against Leao pretty much the whole night. I don't know if really Leao had him on toast once, but we get it. We get a corner, and I mean, this one is Kostas Tsimikas' redemption arc because for as much as I and many other people will malign his inability to defend or his ability to just absolutely suffocate our build-up play with when the ball comes to him at his feet, the boys got some delivery on him. And I mean, for as routine as the first goal was, I think the second goal was even more schoolboy. Like, if you're a Milan fan, you have to be tearing your hair out at that because that defending was pathetic for Milan, wasn't it?
When you look at it the ball that came in was absolutely perfect. It was there to be won. When you get a chance to watch the replay of it, watch Ruben Loftus-Cheek. He's literally looking at the ball all the way along. Virgil goes back, pushes Linders out the way, comes around the keeper, holds off Pavlovic to stop him from getting back. All the while, Ruben Loftus-Cheek is an arm's length away watching it, and it's just like, oh my God, there's Big Virg. Ooh, bad goal. It was shocking defending, but it was brilliant movement from Van Dijk. The step back, look, Reinders, get out of the way. Hold Pavlovic. Not a ball in. It was so subtle, so clinical, but it was all about the delivery and the movement. It was really routine. It was really simple, and it was executed perfectly. Yeah, I mean, like I said, Kostas will get stick for the goal. Absolutely. He had 92% passing accuracy. He got forward more than anyone else. He had 3 recoveries, an interception. All in all, other than his cock up for the first 5 minutes, he had a good game.
If he could put the ball in the net, he could have had a hat-trick today.
Well, if he owned the right foot.
But it's not just him. It's crazy how often our left backs, because Trent never gets in those positions from the right because he tucks into midfield. Yeah. But it is crazy to me how many times you see Robertson and Tsimikas in those positions. And it's not just the last 4 games. It's over the last
consistent.
3. Yeah, it's over the last 3 years. If either of them could score half of the chances, a quarter of the chances that they get over a season, combined they'd be in double figures for goals. No doubt in my mind. It's mental. But he's got the engine to keep going and keep putting himself in there. And overall, I thought he had a really good night, bar the first 5 minutes. But his recovery from that first 5 minutes, can't fault the man.
Yeah.
It would have been easy for him to go into a shell at that rate, and he didn't.
Yeah, I think that's only fair to point out and say that they, that Tsimikas responded from that. There was another one where Milan hooked the ball high across the field where he had an easy header to send Gakpo in, and he just played it out for a free kick. But at that point, I was still a little salty about him for the goal that we conceded. But Emmett was questioning me about the Leao made his run on 47 minutes, and Konate he's so much faster than I think a lot of us give him credit for because of the size of him. Like, he's such a physical specimen, but he's got so much speed, and he was ahead of Leao, shoulder to shoulder. And not only have we got to give Tsimikas his flowers, Ashley, I thought the referee tonight was pretty much excellent.
He was great. I think that was his 5th performance in the Champions League overall. That was like the 5th time he's ever refereed at that level. And I mean, between the calls that he made, I think, the yellows were consistent on both sides. I think he definitely had a few advantage plays that I was really impressed with. He didn't buy any of Morata's shit because he was going down like a sack of flour. I don't know what you want to call him, but he was trying to buy everything. He was trying to get Virgil sent off. He was trying to buy a penalty for nothing. So, yeah, I think, it's not very often we get to give a referee his flowers, but he did really well.
Yeah. Yeah, Cade, Fagan, and Kieran B agreeing with that there. And I liked at least on my feed, they pointed out that I think he was 37 or 36 years old or something like that, 36. This referee. And they said 36. Like he could have a big future in refereeing European matches because you're not going to see a Norwegian team in the the later stages of these competitions anytime soon. So I mean, good on them. And Kev, we get into halftime, and that's a good halftime. That's a good halftime feel, I think. You go down early, you don't like conceding a goal, but a great response from the team. And then from about 10, 12 minutes on to the halftime whistle, we had kind of dominated the game. I don't know if Milan had even an attempt.
Alisson had one save to make. He made one save from a shot inside the box in the whole game. They had shots in the second half. They had one effort in the first half in total that they scored from. And in the second half, look, they threw the kitchen sink at it. But, between players getting in blocks and interceptions and forcing bad shots, we defended brilliantly in the main. There was a couple of times where Leao got in. I think Gravenberch made a brilliant cover tackle in the second half. And
I love the celebration that they did afterwards.
Yeah.
Like the defenders, that was great.
Yeah, I put 2 stars beside that one so that we didn't forget. That was in the 73rd minute. It was that's the sort of stuff that for a player that's learning a new position and we're trying to mold him into our number 6, that is exactly what we want to see out of Ryan Gravenberch.
It's not so much making the tackle. Making the tackle is one thing.
Being there.
That's fine. It's sensing the danger that it might happen. That was to me was exactly what you want to see. He did sense danger. Look, he was really, really good tonight. We did. It's one thing I noticed throughout the whole game. We didn't really try to force it too much through the middle. You could see how narrow they were. And we tried a couple of times. One time, Virgil in the first half made a really lazy pass into midfield, in through the middle.
Minute,
and it got cut out, and we defended it well. But other than that, the switch was on all night long. And either Virgil was trying it, Dominic Szoboszlai tried it a few times. Trent tried it a fair few times as well. And for once, it was nice to see us open the pitch wide, and Gakpo hugged the sideline. Salah hugged the side. Salah will play a dozen games this season a lot worse than this, and he'll come away with a brace or hat trick.
Yeah.
You know, I thought tonight, for 70 minutes of that game tonight, he was absolutely brilliant. He was unplayable at times. And make no mistake, Theo Hernandez, I said it last night in the show, Theo Hernandez is the best left back in the world. And I'm not having any debate on it. He's without doubt the best left back in the world. Watch him for France, watch him for his previous clubs, and watch him as he develops with Milan. The link-up play between Theo Hernandez and Rafael Leao is a threat to anybody in the world game. And I thought we handled that so well. We sniffed out the danger. Konate tonight was ridiculous.
Yeah, monster.
He was an absolute monster. I thought overall, defensively, tonight is like, right, that's the blueprint. That's the blueprint for the rest of the season. No more bullshit. No more fanny blowing around. That's how you want to defend for the rest of the season. No messing.
Yeah, and it goes along with everybody's concerns about Konate. It's never been a skill thing. You know, since he's come into Liverpool, it's always been a fitness thing. But Ashley, just to break away from my strict chronological order that I like to stick to and go with what Kev was saying there about Theo Hernandez, because he is he's unquestionably one of the best. I think you could have some debate. I mean, maybe if we wanted to, somebody here was asking, Scouser Pete was wondering where Grumpy Kev has gone and what I've done with them. It's nothing to do with me. It's all about the Reds.
Chris is at home, so I'm having a night off.
That's right. Yeah, it's not me. It's Bracky that brings the Grumpy Kev out. But actually, you know, Kev's mentioning like that left-hand side of theirs with Theo Hernandez and Rafael Leao and whoever's the left-sided midfield player for them.
Reinders,
is their strength. But there was really nothing that came from that. And I think a lot of credit has to go to our players on that right-hand side, whether it's Trent Alexander-Arnold, who I thought did well 1v1 against Leao, Dominic Szoboszlai, who Emmett Højbjerg II points out, that's his man of the match because he ran over every blade of grass, scored, and kept us moving forward. But the one I would like to have you speak on, Ashley, is I feel like Mo Salah is putting in a lot more of a defensive shift for this team.
I think that's what Slot demands.
Yeah.
I think there was a quote from him earlier this season. I don't know if it was from him or from one of the players, but it basically said, if you don't track back, you don't play in a Slot system. And I don't think that Slot would threaten that and not follow through. I think he would. Because you saw it with Nunes, too. I mean, there was one time toward the end of the game where Nunes made a fantastic tackle.
About 20 yards out.
Yeah, it was fantastic. And that's what's keeping us safe, because when we do bomb forward, like last season, we would have seen those players staying up toward the top of the pitch. And now we have them coming back and we have this insurance policy, and they are working so hard to do that press. I mean, it's like night and day to what we were seeing last year, where they were teams were cutting through us like a hot knife through butter. And I agree. I think Mo Salah is definitely putting in the yards and showing that he still has the fitness, which, I mean, is incredible for his age. And he is like the peak of fitness. It's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, let's not pretend we haven't seen the pictures of him without his shirt off, or without a shirt on. I mean, come on, let's be serious. I mean, Jerry 10 echoing the same, saying Trent's had a massive start to the season offensively and defensively. Sam Tandy says we've actually defended brilliantly every game so far. Just our attacking play overall was very sluggish against Forest, which can happen. We just hope we nick them kind of games 1-0 rather than lose them, which is correct. I mean, at halftime there are no changes. And there are also no changes in terms of our charity sponsoring that we're doing this year, which is the Lighthouse Cafe in Dublin and fans supporting food banks in Liverpool. If you follow the channel at all, you know that this is what we're here for. We're here to talk about Liverpool and raise money for charities. So we've got our ongoing campaign going. The link will always be in the description, whether it's on a podcast or whether it's on YouTube or any of the Talkin Kop social media. Please, if you can, donate. Please help us get to our fundraising targets for these two wonderful, wonderful charities that are doing great work for some of the most at-risk people in the communities in both Dublin and in Liverpool. And we can get on with that. But, Kev, there were no changes made at half, and I don't know why Paulo Fonseca didn't realize that his goalkeeper wasn't going to be able to continue. Because I think it was under a high cross, maybe from even Konate's goal, where it looked like he went down heavy on his left ankle. But you watch them coming up the stairs they showed the young kid warming up, the young goalkeeper who ended up coming on. They showed him warming up, and I thought, oh, okay, Maignan not going to be coming out. And then the Milan team came out, and he wasn't with them. And I thought, okay, that's it. And then he came out on his own, and he was limping coming up the stairs.
Yeah.
But then he makes a great save and has to go off.
Yeah, I think they wanted to do everything possible to keep him on the pitch. I mean, Mike Maignan is a top keeper. And you could see the difference. It was a marked difference, not only in experience and the fact that the kid is 19 years of age. For a modern, young keeper, he's not very good with the ball at his feet. And the way they play around the back, they do an awful lot through the keeper. So I think you wanted to do everything humanly possible to keep Maignan on the pitch. And I think if it wasn't for that shot save from Jota, because Jota went in, it wasn't his fault. It was just his follow through and the shot landed on his knee, and he actually cut his thigh. I think if it wasn't for that, I still think he'd have stayed on. You know, I think he'd have done everything humanly possible to keep him on the pitch. But we started the second half and it was more of the same. You know, the press, forcing them into areas in midfield. The press that came from midfield was brilliant. And it was like everyone came in. There was one bit in the second half, I think it was early on, where Konate charged in and won the ball in midfield from, I think it was a ball from their left back it was a high ball into Reinders, and Konate came in over the top of him. And I was loving it. I was loving that aggressive nature.
We've seen that all season, haven't we?
Yeah.
The center half are really given license to charge into midfield and cut the ball out.
Yeah. I mean, the flip side is what happened early doors and the way we conceded that goal, the gaps were too big. But if you get it wrong, that's what can happen. You are taking a huge risk, but the reward is you're winning the ball high up the pitch, and you can really go after them and really get at them. And it will pay off over the season, I'm sure. You know, we will probably concede a few goals here and there by doing it, but over the course and distance of a long season, I think we will score a lot more than we concede by doing it. But I love that part of the game. Absolutely love it.
Yeah, it's something that I've picked out in the first 4 games before this one that it really seems like they've got that Slot's given them that license to just.
One thing on Mo Salah, it is to Ashley's point about his tracking back. Mo Salah won 6 out of 7 ground duels tonight. So it's not a case of when he tracks back and he's tracking back to just show, look at me, I'm coming back, aren't I a great team player? He's effective when he does it. And be that up high at the pitch when he's pressing, or when he comes back to try to nick the ball and get the ball off on the counter. It's that unselfish work that he does. And when he comes back, he's effective when he does it. So long may it continue.
Yeah, preaching to the choir on that one, Kev. Obviously. Ashley, we get around the 60-minute mark. It felt like the game was getting a little sloppy. Around 62 minutes, it seems like both teams were having a competition to who could have the most dangerous giveaway in midfield. Teo Hernandez, Kev's undisputed #1 best left back in the world, throws in a great last-ditch interception to keep Mo Salah from going out on a breakaway. And then Alexis McAllister puts a lovely ball into Szoboszlai. He keeps it alive after a save by Torriani. Tees it up to the exact last player you want getting the ball in the box, which is Kostas Tsimikas, and he blasts it well wide. But then we get the third goal, and a player who deserves some time to be talked about, and that's Cody Gakpo. Does all the hard work to set up that third goal, doesn't he?
Yeah,
Sorry.
Okay.
Not
only
you,
time
Kev.
to. Kev, you go ahead.
No, you go.
Okay. That could have been like a goal of the season contender if he had finished that off, because he was holding off players left, right, and center. And how timely was it for Szoboszlai to finish that goal off after Slot kind of singled him out in his press conference, asking him to score more goals? So it was genuinely like a really perfect combination, and it was just like, I'm so happy to see Gakpo get that chance to succeed. Like I said earlier, like he was just incredibly eye-catching today, and I think this past weekend we talked endlessly about like, what are these subs going to do without rhythm? And I'm going to hold my hands up and say, he looked like he had rhythm. He looked fantastic.
Yeah, he really did. I mean, you had put some of the stats up here for us. 18 to 22 passing, 82%, 2 chances created, 1 big chance created, an assist, 3 shots, more than Milan had in the entire game. 4 out of 7 dribbles, 6 out of 10 ground duels. I mean, Kev, there's another one. 6 out of 10 ground duels from our left winger.
Yeah. I mean, he showed it last season that he could play in midfield. He's just a really good footballer, first and foremost. He can play through the middle. I had him last night when we were picking our starting 11. I had him playing through the middle, but he needed to play, first and foremost. But there was a part in that goal where he slowed the centre back up to go past it.
It was outrageous.
It's a skill in itself that you don't. It's an old school winger trick that really quick wingers used to do. Where they slow him up, and then go again. Just wrong foot's a big centre half, and there's nothing they can do about it. And the pace the cross came at just made the finish for Szoboszlai a simple one. All he had to do was guide it, and he did. And it was a deserved goal. It was a really good break that initially I think started with Gravenberch not taking the soft, easy decision to go backwards, but to take the ball under pressure and play it forwards. And Gakpo made a brilliant run, cross and finish. And 3-1, it was game over for me at that point.
Yeah. It would be remiss of me not to mention, because I put it in and started in my notes, that the third goal came from the work of Ryan Gravenberch. Again, another one of his interceptions. It was a poor pass by Milan in the midfield, but Gravenberch gets the ball. He immediately plays it to Szoboszlai, who plays his pass out to Gakpo, and then the ball ends up in the back of the net. And it's just, it's so heartening for the soul to see Ryan Gravenberch do that, because I'll hold my hand up and say, after watching him last season, I didn't think he had that in his locker. And he's just showing so much growth under that. And it's lovely to see that, with a little bit of confidence from the coaching staff, from Arne Slot, to say, here's the keys. You go out and drive. That he's driving like a Formula One driver in that 6th position so far. I mean, Ashley, after that, it becomes, until about the last 5 minutes or so, where it's a little harem-scarum and Milan seemed to be kind of throwing the kitchen sink at it. But it was fairly controlled after that, wasn't it, Ashley?
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely a case of like them coming at us, just trying to claw something back. But I really appreciated how we would recycle the ball and kind of take the pressure off. And we weren't doing anything stupid, which in years past we might have done. And we were just kind of letting them have the ball in areas that weren't really dangerous. And you saw a few a few shots go wide of the post. I think the only dangerous thing was at the very end, and I would have loved to see a replay, was that, I think, save from Ali off of that Leao shot at the very, very end. They said it went off the bar, but I'm pretty sure Allison got a touch on it at like 96 minutes. But that was their most dangerous moment. Otherwise, I think we had them kind of at arm's length the whole time.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how you felt about the end of the game, Kev, but it's taken me a couple of games. I mean, obviously, Forest was an outlier because we were losing and chasing the game in one of the strangest manners possible. But in the other 3 league games, just this, we've got the lead. We don't need to do anything. I'm getting kind of used to it. I think I can be okay with it. It allows me to get my thoughts in line for doing a show afterwards. Like, it's not like this, anything can happen in the last 10 minutes of a match.
No, look, I missed the last minute, so I didn't see that. But it was, look, the Forest game aside, because that, I'll still never understand that version of a back 3. But in general, we've tried to play as much a controlled game as possible. I think at times we can be guilty of forcing the ball through midfield when it's not on. But tonight, I think, was a classic case of the opposite. You increase the quality of the opposition, you raise your game to that. And we did tonight. We had to get the Forest result and performance out of our skin and out of our system. And, players will probably have a day off tomorrow, back in Thursday for preparation for Bournemouth on Saturday. And it's literally just go now.
And you know what? On that point, I'm glad we used subs. I'm glad he pulled some subs in. Like, I know that we only saw Endo and Chiesa at the very end, but I'm glad that he rotated, because I was worried that he was going to stay kind of true to his word and and not do any changes this game. So I'm glad he rotated from the start, and I'm glad he put players in that haven't even seen minutes. Like Joe Gomez got some time, and I'm happy to see that.
Yeah, it was nice to see Gomez get his first minutes of the season. It was obviously nice to see Chiesa get his first run out for Liverpool. I was kind of hoping that he wouldn't touch the ball and then in his next appearance score with his first touch, so it would be some weird statistical anomaly where he scored with his first touch but in his second appearance. But I'm going to come to both of you on man of the match, but before that, I'm going to zip through some of the post-match comments that Ashley's gotten up here for us because, like I said, we got Gab doing a members-only call-in show. I'm not sure if it's a members only show. Yeah. Okay. So if you're a member and you want to have your 2 cents on the match, about 5-10 minutes or so, Gab will be coming back on the channel to do a call-in show. Please don't be afraid. If you want to put on a costume, a funny wig or something like that, it's all well and good. But let's get through some of these comments here. Virgil van Dijk says, I'm very pleased with the win. I'm pleased how we bounced back after a difficult start and a disappointment at the weekend. We put in a good performance with and without the ball. Goes on to say about him and Konate, when there's a set piece, we try to be important. The delivery was special. Yeah, no doubt. And on Chiesa, Van Dijk says, so far what I have seen, a very good boy, a very good player. He wants to fight for the club. He will get his chances and be important. I'm very happy he made his debut. Arne Slot on Ryan Gravenberg says, he took the occasion of playing at a stadium that's had some unbelievable Dutch midfielders. He played an unbelievable game. On the San Siro itself, Arne says, many great Dutch players played here. To win it like we did on my first Champions League night with Liverpool is a memory I will take home, and of course he will. Slot goes on to say, I like how they played more than the way they sang for me. Yeah, that's good. He says, I think we were a bit disappointed with the Forest result and then getting 8 corners and not scoring. We felt with all the work we put in for set pieces, someone would get their reward. We were comfortable on the ball, hit the bar in open play, so we needed set pieces. And he finishes up saying, I was standing next to Seedorf, and he asked about Gravenberg and Gakpo. You can pick these two, but plenty of the others played well too, which I didn't even plan it that way, but what a segue into asking for man of the match. Ashley, who is man of the match?
Oh, I think it's a toss-up between two, and they're both Dutch players. So I'm going to take Gravenberch. I think he really is starting to establish himself. I think if he was signed this summer, and I've said it before, we would be absolutely raving about him. Everyone would be raving about him. Across the league, across the Champions League coverage, everyone would be raving about him. And, I'm glad that we had him to nurture him and kind of drip feed him in last season, but to see him get this chance to actually settle into the 6th role, he's just thriving, and I'm so happy for him.
Yeah. Kev, what about you? Kaid Fagan agrees with Gravenberg.
Yeah, I wouldn't argue with Gravenberg, so I'll tell you he's man of the match comfortably. Honourable mention for me would be Ibou Konate. Genuinely, I thought that was probably one of the best performances he's put in a Liverpool shirt in a long time. Defensively, everything you want in a centre half, commanding, quick, decisive, good decision making. So overall, he was really, really good. I understand the quote for Gakpo. I think the only thing I'd say about Gakpo, there was one in the second half where he forced a good save out of Manyan. But that's a shot I expect him to hit the side netting with. I expect him to score because that's his spot. And it was too close to the keeper. But you're nitpicking. Overall he had a really, really good night. A really good night. For his first start, yeah, really, really good. But there was a lot of good performances tonight. There really was.
Yeah, Emmett Hoiberg II says Sabo, so Schwedi, which is absolutely great. Sam Tandy wants to give the man of the match to Endo just for rattling Tammy Abraham over. Absolutely.
I don't know what that was about.
I mean, if you want to pick a fight with somebody, don't fight the guy that's wearing a mouth guard. I mean, out of all the people, that's probably the last guy.
He's not going to be afraid to get punched.
No, exactly.
I really wish Endo was wearing his big Japan mouth guard and literally just smiled.
Yeah.
That's all I wanted to see. I was like, big cheesy grin with a big red dot in the middle of it.
Yeah, Scouser Pete gives man of the match to Kenny Cunningham for his brilliant analysis, saying Gravenberg was out of his depth and couldn't play the role. Gavin Walsh, Gravenberg's going to need a bigger cabinet for man of the match awards the way that he's going. Sam Tandy, man of the match to Gravenberg. Archie Doolin is agreeing with you, Kev, for Ibou Konate. Avo, a couple days after his birthday, Szoboszlai or Gakpo for me. Andrea Galea, Konate. It's it seems to be those three. I personally would have given it to Gakpo just specifically because it was his first start.
Yeah.
I think it was a really strong showing, and it'd be hard to supplant Luis Diaz in the starting 11 because Luis Diaz has started the season extremely well. But if you're going to do it, today's performance was one way of doing it from Cody Gakpo. So for me, I would give it to Cody Gakpo that way. So I think that's just about our 40 minutes right there. So hopefully all of our members are nice and ready to give Gav a few calls, because if you don't call in, he's never doing a members call-in show ever again. So you've all been warned. All been warned.
Like, wear your masks, wear your sunglasses. The funnier, the better. Like, we will get a kick out of it if you, like, bring everything out. Dress in costume.
Or you don't even have to turn your camera on. If you want to just do audio.
No, turn your camera on and get your funny glasses on. And I want to see who's the best full kit Liverpool fan.
We should give an award, actually, for who has the best costume of the night.
Well, the award is going to be a weekend at your beach house there, Ashley. So be careful what you wish for. Just be careful what you wish for. So, yeah, I mean, if you're not able to call in, that's completely fine. Just hopefully you can donate to our 2 charity partners, like I will always continue to say, because that is what is truly important. Any last words, Kev?
Nah, just give it 5 minutes. Go and get the kettle on, make a coffee, come back, and Gav will be here.
Yeah, best costume wins. We're waiting.
Let us know how you guys all saw the game tonight.
Yeah, absolutely.
We've heard enough of us rabbiting on about it.
That's what I'm really hoping to see is, all the members and people that come in and join us on YouTube after every match, they're used to hearing our takes on it. And you can get involved in the chat, which is always great. It's where all of us came from, is from the chat. But you've now got your opportunity to make yourself YouTube famous. So, yeah, best costume, hottest take wins. So that's been it for us. Again, Liverpool, go to the San Siro. We win again. It's a happy hunting grounds for us. 4 wins from 4 there, but I think somebody said we're 3rd in the Champions League table. I have no fucking clue what that means, because this new format is all very, very confusing.
I mean, we're only 3rd because Bayern scored 9 and Aston Villa didn't get scored against. So
okay. Oh,
but yeah.
Ashley, how did Everton do?
Oh, they lost on penalties to Southampton. So we can close on that note because it's cheerful.
It's always close on a happy note. So yeah, get yourself settled. Come back in a couple of minutes. Call in member show. Have your own say on it. But other than that, thank you very much to Kev. Thank you very much to Ashley. Liverpool will lead the San Siro with a 3-1 win. First game in the Champions League. Happy birthday, Arnie Slot. Thanks for joining us. See you after the next match. Bye.